Welcome to episode 109 of Auto Hop Topic. What's up, Brad?
Not much, Andrew. What's up with you?
Oh, a whole bunch of Project Car updates.
We are deep into Radwood prep.
Oh, yeah.
Fingers crossed we can make it.
Oh, we'll make it in something.
Well, we'll definitely be there. Fingers crossed all of our projects will be there.
Yeah.
I mean, we're pretty damn close.
I mean, my two backups are good. I don't think you have a backup.
Well, I have like 4 backups, but none of them are good.
Okay.
So, I guess that makes them not backups, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the Raider, the RX-7, and the Starion are all 80s.
They're not even close to
The
driving.
Raider's pretty close,
Okay.
but not that close.
Mm-mm.
Also, no.
I don't think you want to drive 6 hours in that.
I certainly would. I mean, we've driven it all night before.
It's true. It was a lot colder.
I have a different feeling about driving shitty cars for long distances than other people do, so I'd be fine with it.
All right.
But, nonetheless, it's not ready to go.
Well, I did fix the gallant rear brakes, so that car could be taken if need be.
Excellent.
It's good to go. And the coolant temp sensor.
Excellent. Yeah, it runs a lot better.
Oh, yes.
And stops a lot better.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. It was still worth it to drive it 2,000 miles.
We didn't realize how shitty it was running and stopping that 2,000 miles until you fixed the problems.
It wouldn't idle right, but it didn't throw a code for the coolant temp sensors till
Mhm.
it came back. But it would idle correctly with the air conditioning running because that pulls coolant temp sensor from a different sensor.
Oh, seriously?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Really dumb. But
So most of the time we were down there, we were using the air conditioning because it was Atlanta in August.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway. But it runs better now, so that's all that matters.
Yep.
And stops better.
So I also swapped. I have these white line caster bushings that go on the end of the control arms.
Okay.
I have them in the Gallant, and they feel awesome, so I put them in the Talon.
Yeah, they give a lot more immediate on-center feel with the steering.
Mm-hmm. And after I was done installing them, you leave the bolts that mounts them in almost loose, like they're snug. And then you put the vehicle on the ground with the weight on it, and then you tighten them. So I had it up in the air, and I was just kind of messing around with it, and the front of the Talon on the driver's side felt loose, like the ball joint. I'm like, really? I double check it again. Sure enough, the lower ball joint is loose, which is really annoying because I replaced those arms probably like 4 years ago.
But the car's been parked for 2 of those 4 years.
Car's been parked for like 4 years.
Oh, really?
Those have like way less than 5,000 miles on them.
Such a faulty part.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Super annoying. So I ordered another one. I got it from work real fast.
Now, that control arm and the ball joint are a unit in that, right?
Yeah, you can't replace them.
Well, you can.
Oh, yeah, you
but
can't.
You shouldn't.
Yeah, you cannot press a ball joint into that.
Yes.
Does not work that way.
If you remember the Wayback Machine,
Mm-hmm.
to 1999 or 2000, probably 2000.
No, it was later than that.
Whatever. It was 2001. It was early in. I only drove the car to like '01 or '02. So.
No, it was probably 03, 04.
No, because I didn't have the car anymore by then, because I had the 2001 Audi in '02. So,
No, but
or '03.
yeah.
Okay, but still. So I got rid of the town stopped driving.
I was
in '02.
out of high school when this happened. Because our other friend who was driving the car while it happened was working with you.
Listen, I am now getting older,
And we went.
Andrew, and I apologize. My brain is not what it used to be.
I guess not.
So, say it's late '02.
Maybe.
Okay. Because I bought the '01 Audi in '03.
Sure.
I definitely did. There's no question. Anyway, before we did a lot of our own, or I did a lot of my own work, I farmed things out to a shop that shall remain nameless, often, especially on daily driver, because I needed to get it done. And they decided that they could change the ball joint in the control arm.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't go so well because it failed like 2 days later, spectacularly, while a friend of mine was driving the car and the wheel fell off,
Mm-hmm.
wrecking the fender and cutting the tire and putting the car in the middle of an intersection with no wheel on it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, You cannot change those ball joints. You need to change the arms.
I've seen it happen too to cars.
Yeah, it's not good.
No. So yeah, I can. At least I've already changed those arms before, so I know all the bolts will come out because I had a huge pain in the ass when those needed to be changed before because they're original and they were in there for 15 years at the time.
In New England.
And these long, super long bolts that go through the front had seized up. But now I know they'll come apart, so I'm going to work on that this week. Should come right out.
Excellent.
Because I already had the rear bushing part out. That came right apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, huge. The HRE wheels
Mm-hmm.
that, thanks to Jared Robinson, I thought they were 501s. He correctly identified them. They are HRE 504s.
Okay. Similar design.
Very similar, but they're definitely 504s.
Yeah.
So they're not a reverse mount mesh. They're a three-piece, but the mesh part is mounted on the outside.
On the face.
On the face.
Yep.
And they're 16 by 8 plus 35.
So they're almost the same offset as stock.
No, plus 38.
Yeah, which is almost the same as plus 35.
Yeah.
Almost the same offset as stock with about an inch and a half wider. Inch and a half wider?
Yeah, they might be 16 by 6.5 or 16 by 7s factory.
Yeah, no bigger than 7s.
But with a 215/55 16,
Mm-hmm.
they're a little fat, but they look good.
Yeah, look good to me.
Um,
Period correct for Radwood.
it's just
Big
more.
sidewall.
It's more period correct for that car, anyways.
Yep.
And it definitely
I've always liked the looks of those cars better on 16s and 17s.
Yeah, car needed a change up. I had the other wheels on there since '03. It was just time to change it.
Sure it was 03?
Yes,
I mean, I can argue today with you if
100%.
you want.
Yeah, I mean, for other stuff, 17s are better, and I will get a separate set of 17s for other types of driving.
I just prefer the look of a 16 on the car. It's what the car is designed with, and I think it looks best on the car.
Yes, but you get better response out of a 17.
I'm sure you
for
do.
doing
There's
other
better
stuff.
choices of tires and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as the looks goes, I prefer them with a 16.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm going to have two.
Yeah, and I remember I ran 16s on mine.
But the hot, cool thing in the mid 2000s was to put 17s on your car
Yeah, which I didn't do.
because you were lame.
No, actually, the
Dad
reason
Brad.
was because I couldn't afford them, because it was a significant jump in price. Because you got to remember, I brought a set of Enki RSEs brand new, and 19, 20-year-old Brad, that was a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. So, I had them mounted down the street here, actually, at Autobahn Performance.
Yeah, cool shop. Do a lot of Porsche stuff.
Oh, yes. They're a big German car shop. So, they're German car experts. The other cool thing, the place is dog-friendly. So if you want to bring your dog there while you wait to have your car serviced.
Oh, is it really?
Yep. You can
That's
hang
cool.
out with your dog. It's 20 minutes north of Boston. And their Instagram is Autobahn_performance_mass.
Yep.
So go check them out for your German car needs.
Yeah, they're good guys. I've known the tech writer down there for quite some time.
Mhm.
He's a good guy. So.
Yeah. Like I said, I got to just peek in the garage door there as I dropped off my wheels and picked them up. And they had a lot of transaxle Porsches in there currently.
Yeah, they get quite a few usually. They also do a lot of muscle cars in there too.
Yeah. And Mike down there pointed out to me a Land Cruiser with 400,000 miles on it, like an FJ80.
Oh, that's really cool.
He's like, yeah, it blew a brake line. And then we're like, we should probably replace all the other brake lines because,
They have 400,000 miles on them.
yeah, and if one goes, that means the next one's
The
going to
others
go.
are pretty close. Yep.
So
Yeah, no, they're good guys in a good shop. Real quality work.
Mhm.
They moved over there. I don't know what 5 or 6 years ago.
something like that.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Very good, I should say, not pretty good.
Yeah. So go check them out. They gave me a great price on mounting the tires and wheels. So very cool.
Yeah, tell them we sent you. And
Yeah.
they won't treat you any differently.
Sapporo. Huge.
It's a delicious beer.
The biggest updates. Where do we even begin? I think you talked about the transmission.
I told the tale. I wove the story of the junkyard transmission grab.
Mm-hmm.
But that transmission now resides much closer to the ground in the car.
Yeah, so I think we left off. You picked up the transmission, was in your truck.
Mm-hmm.
You brought it to the garage.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you talked about going through it.
Nope, because we hadn't even done that yet. Because we dropped it off and came here, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
But my
yeah.
memory's not very good, as we established in the first segment, so I could be wrong.
Nope. I think that was it.
Yeah, because I got on a Wednesday. We went over, I dropped it in the garage with you, and then came right over here and did
All right, so take it from there.
we put it in the car.
Okay.
Done.
Okay.
Easy.
Elaborate on that?
20 minutes.
Sure.
Tonight. After the first hour and a half.
Yeah.
No, it was fairly uneventful. I mean, putting a transmission in a car, there's not a lot going on once you pull the drive shaft out, which actually, Andrew, while I was working on the transmission and the drive shaft was out, Andrew helped me out by swapping over the carrier bearing in the drive shaft because it's a two-piece drive shaft.
Yep.
And that was completely blown out, so got a nice new one in there. Should get rid of some driveline vibrations, probably.
Oh, it would have vibrated horribly.
Yeah, I'm sure it did many times I drove it before, but I didn't notice. Probably because it's an older car and just figured it was vibratey. But anyway, when I get to drive it in the highway, I'm sure I'll feel a difference. So that's good. So yeah, pull the drive shaft out, and then once you've disconnected all of the automatic transmission lines and the linkages,
The ridiculous linkages.
the ridiculous linkages that they have, yes,
They have to adapt it to many different vehicles.
yes, there's really not that much holding it in. You get, two bolts in the back where the tail shaft is, and what were there, 6 in the front? That's about it. Maybe, yeah, 6.
There's 4 bolts on the mount in the back.
Yeah. And then 6 in the front.
6 around the bell housing, I think.
Yeah, that's it. So it's not a huge...
3 torque converter bolts.
Yeah, it's not a huge process to get it out once you've figured out the plan of attack.
And we had a transmission jack.
The transmission jack is a huge help. Not going to lie about that.
Yeah.
Because I remember last time I took the transmission out, we didn't have the jack. And what we did was disconnected the transmission, lowered the lift till the transmission was like right over a table, and then kind of like backed it off and let it drop like a half an inch onto the table. So that was a little more daunting and difficult than using the jack was. The jack was nice because it tilts and tips front to back and side to side.
We didn't have to do much of that.
No, but it's nice that it does. We did a little bit, and it made the thing slot right in place, or right out of place, as it would be in the first particular part.
Yeah. This was way easier than my Montero transmission.
Well, there's no transfer case involved.
Yeah,
so
and
it's
no-
a lot lighter.
And no solid piece of frame that has the torsion bars connected to it. So.
Oh, it's in the way. That's right, too. I forgot
Yep.
about that part. But yeah, no, it was pretty uneventful getting it out. Getting it back in, there were a couple of minor hiccups. One of the lines didn't thread into the fitting on the transmission. Apparently the
Cooler lines, yeah.
that was for the cooling line. Apparently one of the fittings had a different thread pitch on it for some reason in the junkyard transmission, or maybe it was worn out. I don't know. So we took the fitting off the old transmission and put it on the junkyard transmission and solved that problem. The biggest hiccup was caused by me.
Yeah.
I didn't pay enough attention when putting it all back together to check if the transmission pan where the fluid sits was true or not. So the flat surface that goes all the way around the edge of the transmission, one of the corners had a little bend to it.
Oh.
So when we put the thing back on, we covered it in RTV, put it up in the air, filled it with fluid, it leaked out the front. So
It didn't, it was a drip. It wasn't that bad.
it was enough that it had to be fixed.
Oh, yes.
So
It wasn't catastrophic.
no, it wasn't catastrophic. So we tested everything while that transmission pan was still in there. We ran it through the gears a few times, got the fluid up into the transmission, which had been sitting since sometime in the Bush 1 administration.
Yeah, so at first it wasn't dragging down.
Wasn't doing anything.
I was getting a little worried. We kept adding fluid,
Mhm.
adding fluid. Then it started to come up, and you throw it in drive, and then all of a sudden the car went, ooh, like it.
It clicked into gear.
Well, no, it started to, when you put an automatic in gear, it puts drag on it, and it,
Yeah. Slows the engine speed down, and you can
Yeah.
tell.
and then you were doing a little brake stands on the lift.
Right.
It was starting to pull, so
Yep, it was definitely moving. It wasn't slipping, so
Yeah.
that's good.
and
Put it back in reverse and drive a few times, and
I adjusted the linkage.
Adjusted the
Was
linkage.
that linkage okay afterwards?
Yeah, it's almost perfect. I need to make sure I push it forward into park. Because if you like put it where it naturally falls into park, it's not quite in park. So we just gotta back that nut off a little bit and
Okay.
just put it a little further back. I think
It's probably the lack of bushings that have disappeared.
there's a couple places where it could use some bushings. Yes.
They just dried up and fell out and disappeared. So
Yeah. I mean, it functions pretty well. You just have to be positive with your shifts. That's all.
yeah, and then
So
you took it for a little
well, tonight,
spin up and down.
like, last night, I pulled the pan off. I drained the fluid out of it, pulled the pan off, scraped all the RTV off, cleaned it all up, made it look shiny again, and then I put it on the cement floor and kind of bodyworked it, make sure it was flat.
Yeah.
I just, put my weight on one side of it and used a hammer on that corner and flattened it back out again on the cement floor. And that seems to have worked, so I put it back on. Also decided this time to let the RTV cure for 24 hours before putting fluid in it, just as like a precautionary measure. I think it probably would have been fine either way, but
I noticed you guys also mushed it around the edge.
yes.
Like it was like caulking.
Yep, we did, just to seal it for good. But nonetheless, we put fluid tonight, and it didn't leak out. Started the car, got the fluid running through it, shifted it on the lift a few times, didn't go out, and I drove around the block. And the thing shifts better than it ever has before. So it's the first time I've driven the car in over 2 years.
It was nice to see it move under its own power.
It was real nice to drive it under its own power. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So now, because it's been sitting for 2 years, it needs one hell of a detail.
Yeah.
The tires are all dry rotted.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not safe to drive, even
Yep.
around the neighborhood on, really. And I have to decide whether I'm going to put on my Anki 92 wheels that are from the Starion, or I have a set of Watanabes in the basement that I could also use. So I'm not sure which way I want to go yet. But I have to get tires for either one. Radwood's next week, so I have 1 week to finish cleaning it up. I need to put a muffler on it, put the wheels on it, put tires on it,
Coolant hoses.
coolant hoses.
They're kind of spongy.
Yeah, and take it for a drive.
Because I do not want to do another G54B head.
Nope.
Really not in the mood for that. I've done enough of those.
You've only done them on one car.
One
done it
car?
multiple times.
4 times.
3 times.
3?
Yes, 3 times.
I feel like it was 4.
It was 3 times.
Might have to go to the record.
Either way, they don't like to overheat and they crack when they do. So.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is not a bad part of the car. You just don't overheat it and you're fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're going to change those out
Yes, we are.
before you take it on a trip.
Yes, because that car almost overheated once on a road trip.
Yeah.
When the thermostat stuck closed.
Oh, cool.
Oops.
Yeah. No, change it out.
Didn't overheat, almost overheated. I saw it. It was just in time.
Is that it?
I don't know. We've been too busy working on cars to put together show stuff. Unfortunately,
Or fortunately.
or fortunately, yeah.
We talk about working on cars on the show, so sometimes we have to spend more time working on cars.
Instead of having the show, which is why we're a day late this week, actually, because we just were so tired from working on cars last night. It was like, nope, we're not going to record tonight. We'll do it tomorrow night.
Yep.
So, because we do this after our full working day, obviously, and then our full evening of wrenching on cars to get prepped for Radwood.
Spending nearly every day working on cars.
Well, you do it all day long, too.
Yeah.
And then all night long.
Mm-hmm.
So, I understand getting burnt out once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So, you relax by going into your house and playing video games about cars or building model cars.
No, lately it's mostly just watching Netflix.
You've been playing Forza again, though, have you not?
I played it for a second.
Well, you were telling me about the drag racing and the drifting stuff, so...
Like 10 minutes. I played it.
Well, it's 10 minutes more than I have, so...
Oh, you know what I did? I took the fuel pressure regulator on the Talon.
Oh,
Was
forgot about that.
temporarily mounted
15 years
5
ago.
years ago. And it, actually it was more than that. It was probably 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I took a bracket that is used on the firewall to hold some solenoids.
Okay, like PCV style solenoids, or what do you call it? Purge solenoids and stuff.
Yeah. And I found a used one, and I moved it over because I knew it would fit between the top part of the firewall above the welded part.
Yep, where the seam is.
Yep, and then the below it part. I don't know, below the seam.
The below it part.
I don't know.
I like it.
I knew it would fit in that area because that's where it
Where it's
sits.
designed for, yeah.
Yeah. So I mounted it in a spot. I used my favorite riv nut tool,
Which I like now as well.
and then I drilled.
We discussed that in detail on one of the spaghetti episodes.
Yep, I drilled my 2 holes that mount the fuel pressure regulator to that, and now it looks like a factory bracket for the fuel pressure regulator.
Yep, it does. It looks better than being zip tied to the strut tower bar.
I wasn't going to say that.
I mean, temporarily mounted in a different place for testing.
Yes, that's right.
Whatever, it worked. Speaking of spaghetti, spaghetti's actually getting repaired now as well.
Heard the butt get cut off.
Yeah, we haven't been there to help because we've been doing unfortunately, our own projects,
That-
and it's being fixed way up in Maine. So, yeah, where they had the love tap on the telephone pole in the first stage of the rally, they're sectioning in a new rear clip on the car. So,
Oh yes, they will be back on at some point for
Yeah.
updates.
to discuss that massive project they're undertaking. Neither one of them have any experience with bodywork. Might as well cut a car in half and weld it back together. I mean, they have experienced help with them, so nonetheless,
It's kind of cool. They took a car that had been around the area for a while.
yeah, it
as
was a New
as
England
rallycross car.
region SCCA car for a long time.
Another Golf. So a little bit of
Yeah,
New
thankfully
England.
it's not a Golf.
Yeah.
It was it wasn't like a Ford pickup.
Yeah, 57 Chevy
Yeah.
fins on the back of spaghetti.
This is quickly becoming a 24 hours of lemons car if they were doing that.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, they're coming back together soon, so that'll be kind of cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're gonna put a different paint job on the whole car too, as to
That's what I heard.
the livery.
It'll be a surprise.
Yeah, because we don't even know what it is technically yet. I don't think.
Anything else?
I don't think so. I don't have much to fill up tonight.
Really don't have much.
I apologize to our adoring fans
I don't want to drone on.
for the short episode.
And we didn't even take the time for listener questions.
No,
We don't have any Craig Don't Tell Me.
no,
Nothing.
nothing at all.
We'll make it up to you.
Yeah,
There'll be some other long, drawn-out episodes.
yeah. We'll have an hour and a half episode someday, but for now, you get 30 minutes.
Yeah, if that.
Is it not even 30 minutes?
No.
How much time do you have to kill?
5 minutes.
It's only 25 minutes.
Sorry, 22. So 7 minutes.
Wow.
So we'll sit here in silence for 7
Yeah. I will serenade you singing.
No.
I actually won't do that at all.
No, that's okay. I don't even think there's any new car news. There's no new cars. Nothing.
When was the last time you looked at a new car? Oh, I drove an Eclipse Cross.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah, I could fill up 5 minutes of Eclipse Cross talk.
All right.
So everybody in my family drives Mitsubishis, as I think I've mentioned before, which is not my fault, actually. It's my father and sister's fault. Because I pushed them to a Mitsubishi once a long time ago, and they had zero problems with it over like 10 years of driving the car and 160,000 miles. And they've been sold on them ever since. So everybody else in my family, extended family and close family, has been buying Mitsubishis because they've all had good experiences with them.
Mm-hmm.
Not from my influence of old crappy ones.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom was looking to upgrade her '05 Accord. And the new Accords are like $45,000 by the time you get all the options you want. Maybe
You
not
could buy
quite,
an Acura.
maybe not quite that much, but they're quite expensive. They're significantly more expensive than a decently optioned Eclipse Cross was. And the Eclipse Cross came with a 10-year, 100,000 mile warranty.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the extra push that sold her that way.
Hashtag not sponsored.
By Mitsubishi, yes. No, we just like Mitsubishis. And she bought the all-wheel drive Super All-Wheel Control
Mm-hmm.
2-liter turbo model.
Yep.
So
Which is kind of a gimmick.
the Super All-Wheel Control?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely a gimmick.
Yeah.
Absolutely 100% a gimmick.
Yeah.
But it is all-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fine for somebody around here in the wintertime.
She can go rip it up in the snow or in dirt.
I kind of can't wait to drive it in the snow because I think it'll probably be fun.
And the funny thing was, my Evo had the same thing,
Right.
and you would just leave it in the regular mode.
And I figured it out.
Yeah, because putting it in snow, I think, would lock it 50-50, and it would drive weird, and dirt would do something else weird with the diffs.
Mm-hmm.
So you were better off just leaving it in tarmac mode.
And
And
just driving it.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, my quick thoughts on the car. It's a new CUV,
Okay.
so it drives like a new CUV. There's nothing remarkable about it.
Yep.
The steering is overboosted,
It's electric, probably.
probably. It's a fairly nice place to be inside the car. It's not cheap feeling. It feels nice. Compared to its class, it feels like it fits in. I mean, it's not a Mercedes or a BMW, but it's not awful either. So, I mean, it feels equal quality to your Subaru.
Is it piano black?
You know, I drove it at dusk and I don't remember. I don't think there's any piano black, or was there? There might be.
Probably.
But whatever. It doesn't. The car doesn't feel cheap inside. The gauges are nice. The display is nice. The radio is nice. Everything in the car is anything you expect from a brand new car right now.
Does it have solid black wheels?
Yes.
It's so weird now. So I noticed a bunch of companies have now switched from
The black with the machine
face to just pure black wheels.
which is much better than machine face.
It is much better than machine face, but I
it's
feel
still
like
weird for a factory wheel.
black wheels are just not into black wheels on cars all the time.
Depends on the car. Sometimes.
It's just because
It depends on the color of the car, number one.
it does. And
I
then
like a red car with a black wheel. Looks really nice. And this car is a red car. So
I don't agree. But the problem is when a car has black wheels and they don't get cleaned, I think they look worse, even worse than silver wheels that don't get
yeah,
cleaned.
because they look more brown.
Yeah.
And also you have the other factor is when you have black wheels and your tires aren't totally clean, the tires look brown compared to the black painted wheel.
Yeah.
Which bothers me as well.
So I'm not that into it.
But my dad cleans my mom's cars all the time, so shouldn't be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at her '05 Accord. That thing was pretty clean all the time. So the wheels were not pitted like most '05 Accords would be.
Now, luckily, it doesn't have a floating C-pillar, which I hate.
I don't think it does.
However,
the rear three-quarter view kind of looks like a Pontiac Aztek.
it doesn't kinda. It
looks like a slightly more modern Pontiac Aztek.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Pontiac Aztek.
Yeah.
100%. My father and mother do not agree with that assessment. But everybody else I've talked to, and I show a picture of the rear three-quarter view of the car, and I say, what does this look like? Without being prompted that it looks like a Pontiac Aztek, pretty much all say Pontiac Aztek.
Not a CRX.
Nope.
Pontiac Aztek.
Nope, which is my father says it looks like a CRX with a glass panel on the back. But, I mean, yes, a CRX had a glass panel on the back, but it's shaped more like an Aztek.
Nose is better looking than an Aztek. But
Yeah.
Pontiacs of that era were not very good looking cars
In
anyways.
general, no. They were just Malibus with plastic body kits.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good car. I don't hate it. I would recommend it to somebody who's looking to buy a CUV because of the warranty.
Mm-hmm.
And it's better looking than the Hyundai CUV, which also has the same warranty.
Hyundai is really goofy looking.
Yeah, the new ones are.
It's like
The Kona, whatever they call it.
yeah, it's like they took the Crosstrek
And mated it with a Cherokee.
and smudged it a bit with their thumb.
Yeah, but then they put the weird 3 headlight system the Jeep Cherokee has on it.
Oh.
So it's that weird like slitty headlight up top and the big headlight in the middle and the fog light in the
I
bottom.
really think that what they did was they were like, all right, what are the most popular cars right now? Crosstreks and these Jeeps, because they sell a ton of them, arguably.
Oh, for sure. Not arguably, they do.
And Hyundai was like, well, we want to compete in that market, so let's mush the two things together, styling-wise, because that's apparently what people are buying.
Yeah, so that's the Jeep Cherokee nose.
Yep.
With the 3 headlights. And this is not good podcast fodder, but
People know what we're talking about.
yeah.
You've seen them. I like the name Kona,
Yeah, no, it's a cool name.
but I don't know.
And that's the Kona nose, the same thing. The 3 sets of lights.
Yeah, it's really goofy looking.
Isn't it really similar though to that Jeep?
Yeah.
Just with it's like an overstyled Cherokee.
That's the other thing with the Crosstrek is they didn't overstyle the car really. It's actually pretty conservatively styled.
Yeah, compared to the other things on the market.
Yeah.
They went with wild colors to sell versus wild style.
And they actually, even though the car is new for 18, they didn't change the styling very much because they were selling so many of them. It's kind of smart, but
for sure.
anyways. Everybody knows that I am a big proponent of the 6-speed Crosstrek, but
Oh yeah, for sure. And I don't think the Eclipse Cross is available in all-wheel drive with a manual.
no.
So,
There's little to nothing available in all-wheel drive with a manual.
so at the moment on the market, the only thing that's available other than a Crosstrek, I think, is a Jeep
Renegade,
Renegade, the small one.
the 1.4,
It's only available with a manual with a 1.4 turbo. But
that's the Fiat 1.4.
yes, but in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
that's no longer an option.
Ah,
So they're going to be all automatic as well. So literally, your only option to keep all-wheel drive and get a manual transmission in a small CUV, which is a market segment, which I don't even like saying, but I've said it like 4 times now, is going to be the Crosstrek.
I know, and that's the Crosstrek to me is even more of a lifted wagon than a CUV.
I don't consider it an SUV in any way, shape, or form.
It's more of a car with just a
It's-
slightly taller
It's a
suspension.
tall Impreza.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's like the old
That's
Outback
what it
Sport.
drives like.
Yeah.
And whatever.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I am okay with the Subaru Crosstrek as a car. I don't hate it at all.
No.
I don't hate this Eclipse Cross either. I don't understand where it fits in the market compared to a Outlander Sport.
I don't understand either, but that might be coming from the Nissan running them, where Nissan has a bunch of SUVs that
They have
seemingly compete with each other.
That's true because they have a Rogue and
A Murano. I
and a
can't tell the difference
Pathfinder.
between any of these vehicles.
Yeah, and they had a Juke, which was kind of the same thing as well for a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had a bunch of the same. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But like we've said before, and
If it saves the brand, great, wonderful. I don't think it's going to, but if it does, wonderful.
But like we said before, if this is what people are buying, this is what's being built and sold.
Yeah.
If you want sports cars, people need to go buy sports cars.
I'm curious for the future of vehicles like this Eclipse Cross, though, because it is the same transmission differential setup as the Evo, right?
No,
Well, the same transfer case rear end setup.
maybe. It's not. It might be. I don't know.
Maybe when they call it the Super All Wheel Control, they call it the same thing.
They had it in the Outlander GT, though.
Well,
That was all different stuff.
but it is a Turbo 4
Yeah,
called an Eclipse. Maybe someday somebody will make these things fast.
maybe.
Maybe somebody will engineer the terrible out of them by making them handle better, making them quick, making them enjoyable. I mean, the whole looking back on old cars now, I would drive the crap out of a mid 80s Mitsubishi Expo. I wouldn't have been caught dead in one in the mid 80s.
Maybe. It's because it's ironically cool now.
Maybe that will be too. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Is if the architecture is the same and you can make an Eclipse Cross with Evo parts,
Yeah.
once all that stuff is cheap enough and the car is cheap enough, maybe it could be made cool.
I mean, I'd love to drive a Fiesta ST, which they aren't making anymore. I'd have
Right.
to buy a used one, which sold pretty well, but unfortunately decided just to stop making cars.
Yeah.
I would also drive a BRZ, but I just don't have a need for one.
I don't know where you took this conversation.
I'm just saying that
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to fill in my thing about making an Evo swapped Eclipse Cross, but then you talked about other cars altogether.
because I don't think anybody's going to do that.
Somebody did it in the old Outlander when it first came out, remember?
Those definitely shared the same platform,
Yep.
100%, and that's why it was easy. But I'm just saying, in general, people keep complaining that all that gets made is CVT CUVs. It's like, well, that's all that people buy, so that's
Very true.
what's getting made. So really, I don't know. But then there's the other thing. It's like, well, I could go buy these new sports cars, but then I could also just spend my money and own a bunch of 80s and 90s cars and live in the past, which maybe is more fun. I don't know.
So according to the internet, the Eclipse Cross is in between the Outlander and the Outlander Sport.
Yeah, those all have the same platform. Those all share the same platform with the Lancer.
And this does too.
Yeah.
So this is the
Mitsubishi has not engineered a new platform in many years. They've been using the same thing over and over again.
So actually, it looks like this vehicle is not. Oh, it is. Okay. So it's the GS platform. Would you like to know who also shares the GS platform?
Hyundai,
Negative.
Renault,
Negative.
Nissan,
Negative.
Infiniti,
None of the above.
Nissan.
You already said Nissan.
Did I?
It's Daimler Chrysler and Fiat.
Oh, it's the Dodge Dart. The Dart's on that platform.
Um, the Dodge Avenger and Caliber are. The Dart is a smaller platform.
Whatever. These are dumb cars.
But it is the same platform as the Lancer.
Okay,
So,
sure. I just don't care anymore. I don't want to talk about them.
well, no, I'm just saying. I was doing my review of the Eclipse Cross and how it's a car.
Yep.
It succeeds at being a CUV.
Mm-hmm.
If you dropped me into it blindfolded, and then somehow I was able to drive it without crashing, I wouldn't be able to tell what I was driving. Is basically what I'm saying. It's a generic CUV. There's nothing special about it at all.
That pretty much describes probably every CUV.
Yeah, that's what I say. That's hence the description generic CUV. There isn't a good one. They're all just bleh. Maybe the Mazda is supposedly a little bit sportier.
Think there's any. It's not that there isn't a good one. There isn't any bad ones. They're all just mediocre.
Yeah, they're all just average cars. It's just a car. Is it a car? It's a car. Does it drive? It drives.
Yeah, but there's a lot of cars like that.
Right, and they're all terrible. We don't want them.
Enthusiasts don't want them.
When we're enthusiasts.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. This car, it succeeds at what it set out to do. It's not terrible for its class. It is. It should sell well in its class, so people actually drive them. If somebody goes out and drives and test drives a Rogue and test drives one of these and test drives a RAV4, there's no reason for them to choose anyone over the other than brand loyalty and styling. Is basically what I'm saying. They're all the same damn car.
Yep.
Nothing special.
They pretty much are.
It does move pretty good with the Turbo 4. It's not super slow, but it has a CVT with, it's in quote, air quotes, 8-speed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a CVT, so it could be at 8 million speed. It's all just how many stops they put in the computer. So, anyway, whatever. It's a car. It exists. My mom bought it. She's happy. She's not a car enthusiast by any means. Her last 3 cars were this, a Honda Accord 4-cylinder automatic, and an Oldsmobile Alero. So, none of which are exciting cars.
Yep.
But in my childhood, she drove cool cars, but not anymore. She just drives a car.
Yeah, I just have no interest in. There's very few
Obviously,
new cars.
I couldn't even talk about the car without you nodding off over there, falling asleep.
Pretty much. I mean, even that type of Mitsubishi is like, all right, this is boring.
Well, I feel that people would want to hear about it and know. So I know a lot of people are curious about the car.
Mm-hmm.
So, curiosity satisfied. Nothing to be curious about. Have you driven a car? You've driven an Eclipse Cross.
Yeah.
It works.
It does work.
So, anyway, I have successfully filled up 5 minutes talking about an Eclipse Cross.
More than 5 minutes.
We've hit a half hour.
It was 5 minutes too much.
I think we can put a bullet in this episode and call it dead. So we have finished it. We will, I promise, put more effort into next week's episode.
Or not.
Or not.
Keep expectations low.
Empty promises.
It's a free program.
Yeah, I'm a liar, so it's all good.
Yeah.
I never even drove an Eclipse Cross.
No, you definitely did.
No, I definitely did. I'm kidding.
But, yeah. So, if you enjoy lame-ass conversation about Eclipse Crosses, leave us
Tune in next
5-star.
week.
Yeah, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes.
Yep.
It helps us in the rankings. Share us with your friends. Tell them how much you love this podcast where they talk about crappy Mitsubishis.
However, I drove a Ford Raptor today.
Oh, okay.
I did, but I don't feel like talking about it because it's an enthusiast vehicle. Actually, it doesn't really. Again, it's just a pickup truck.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, driving it around town. I drove it from Salem to Danvers and Danvers to Salem. It drives like a pickup truck.
See, that interests me.
Yeah. It's a pickup. But unless you have an opportunity to drive it
There's no deserts here.
over dunes. You're not going to get much different out of it driving it to and front down city streets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. That's the thing around here.
It's ungainly and wide too.
Yeah, there's a lot of raptors around here.
Yep.
And not a lot of open space to
This
use
one
them.
also had really chunky tires on it, so it rode horrifically.
You can't even bring them really down off-road trails here
They're too big.
because they're too wide.
Yeah.
They're made for open Baja, like
Desert. Yeah.
flat out
Yeah.
over like whoops and stuff. But
I will say we just spent about $16,000 fixing this one, and it still drives like a nice truck. So
okay,
took a pretty good hit. But yeah, it drives like a truck. They're nice inside. All trucks are nice inside now.
yeah, they are.
So anyway,
I just want to buy an old car, another old car.
yeah. See, this is why we buy old cars. We get dirty and greasy and cuss at them, and they break down sometimes, and people give us crap for driving old cars sometimes. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day because I'm not satisfied driving an Eclipse Cross. I'm not satisfied driving a Raptor. I want a broken down old piece of crap.
I like new cars, but it has to be dynamic.
Yeah, well, Raptors aren't
No.
on pavement.
No.
The Eclipse Cross is more dynamic on pavement.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only problem. It's getting fewer and fewer. I don't know what I'm going to drive for like a 5-year-old car
Mm-hmm.
or a 10-year-old car.
BRZ.
Yeah, I guess so.
Cross track 6 speed.
Yeah. Cross that bridge when I get there.
Yeah.
So, anyway, like I was saying, leave us 5 stars. Whatever.
And a review.
In a review.
Yep. Leave us 5 stars, but be honest in your review.
100%.
Events coming up. This weekend is Cars and Coffee in Newington, New Hampshire at the Fox Run Mall.
Yep.
That's Sunday morning from 9 to 11.
That is not the Cars and Coffee we're involved in.
No, it is not, but it's a good show.
It is.
It's usually pretty big, usually 400 or 500 cars.
What time do you have to get there?
Last time I went, the parking lot was full at 9 a.m., and they started using the overflow lots. So if you want to get prime spot parking, you got to be
4
there
in the
by
morning.
you got to be there by 8:30. Next weekend is Redwood, as we know. We've been talking about.
Everybody knows we've been talking about it. We don't need
Yep.
to talk about it anymore.
2 weekends after that, it's not really an event that's sold out, isn't it? Can't really push that one. Vermont.
Northeast Flatlanders.
Yeah.
Toys for Tots Run.
Yeah.
Well, people can give a
People
donation.
can donate to the Northeast Flatlanders. They're doing a Toys for Tot Run in Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a donation through them. I think they're accepting money as well, are they not?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Being terrible at this.
Yeah.
If you want to donate toys and you can get to us in person,
Yeah.
we'll bring them up there.
Yep.
With our own, but otherwise,
Yes.
that's that event's kind of closed. But we'll be there, hanging out.
It's closed due to space.
Yep.
They'd love to have 1 million people donate 1 million toys, but they can't the way they have it set up, unfortunately. So, but anyway, yeah, those are the events coming up that we're involved in anyway.
Yep. There was the Vermont Overland Rally. We had some people
That was
went
last
to it.
weekend, I
And
think.
we have to catch up with them about that.
You know, we should probably do. We should probably have somebody who went be a guest on the show.
Sounds like something we should talk about off air.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, where can people find you on Instagram?
TSI SS
I love making you say this.
350. TSI SS 350.
All right.
Or as Warren always says on his show, TSS 350.
I mean, that's the way you read it.
I guess it is.
Follow our show, Odd Off Topic, on Instagram, Odd Off Topic Podcast, on Facebook, and myself, Race and Anger, on Instagram. As always, keep cars analog and aim for the roses.